Thank you, Sai Charan Garu. Thanks for having me. And Andarki Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Um, if I really look back my life, I'm not really sure if I have any kind of inspirational stories to share, but I do have some success stories. I come from a very small village, which was having around 50 houses in that village. That is a kind of small village. And my high schooling onwards, it started in Hyderabad. So I grown up the key period in Hyderabad. And I started my career as an accountant. And one of the pinnacle of my career was playing a role of head of operations for about 250 people, completely into the accounting and finance related area for one particular client account. So if I have to just talk about my professional experience, I think the largest team that I have managed is around 400. The team was spreading across India, China, Romania, Philippines. It is geographically diversified team. And I worked with the global clients. I worked in the organizations like, GE, Oracle, and, quite a few big names, Xerox, Aon kind of organizations I have worked. So the reason why I have changed the organizations in spite of joining something like GE and Oracle was I'm kind of person who never gets satisfied with the status quo. So I always wanted to evolve. I always wanted to see progression. I always wanted to see something getting changed in me and changing, for better. Changing not for the sake of changing. So in this journey, I constantly was doing a quest on what can do better and where I can be better placed. And in one of the aspect that I have also taken is, I have taken a plunge into the entrepreneurship. So I co-founded one of the organization, which was started from the online model to the offline model, and after a couple of years of experience, I have quit. So if I look at overall, sorry to say that I don't have anything to really say anything like inspiring story to talk about. But I have a few small bits and successes. Like I said, I started as an accountant. I went on to manage a large teams. And I started one of the project which was just started with 2 people, but I scaled it up to 50 people. Those are the kind of small bits and pieces of success stories that I have. And thanks to Ashok Reddy Garu for inviting me to this particular forum. I'm not really sure how I can contribute, but I do have some very I don't know if I can call it as a radical thoughts, but it has been bugging me for quite some time. Let me take a couple of minutes in sharing one of my experience. When I was studying 4th and 5th standard in a small village called Kalaparu, which is part of West Godavari district. The day used to start with Vande Mataram, day used to end with Janagana Mana. Yeah. And the first half was talking about all the subject related, and the second half was mostly about the moral stories and some kind of extracurricular activities that is within the class, and finally ending with some physical education, mandatory physical education every day for 1 hour. I think those were the golden days I have ever experienced in my education life. I have not seen that in Hyderabad. I have not seen in my kids' schools. And I think, having that kind of education, today we keep on saying that, why I have to sing Vande Mataram, why I have to stand up for Janagana Mana. I think, having this kind of disciplined and thought-provoking, nationalistic, and at the same time, inspiring minds, igniting minds, kind of education system is very much needed. So that's where I was saying, it could be a radicalized thinking, but I think, that is the need of the hour for bringing in that kind of education system. I'm not sure, if this particular forum is really aiming towards that. But if that happens, I'll be more than happy to be part of it, and I'm not sure how I can contribute. And one more story I would like to share is once, I normally don't get into the education of my son, but he studied in CBSE. The Hindi, one of the Hindi lesson had for the 10th standard. It is called as a Tatara Vamiru Kada. I'm not sure if anybody has seen that. 10th standard means, the kids will be getting into the age of 15. And that is a very tender age. And this we cannot, I think the concepts that need to be taught in that at that particular age is more forward-looking rather than regressive. So that particular story has complete Bollywood flick. You have a love story. You have there is a different types of casteism between the tribes that was not allowing them to continue their love story. There were songs, and finally, I think they portray it as a real story. And at the end, the hero actually is disgusted with all the proceedings. There will be a lot of fights between the communities. He takes out the sword and then crack on the island. So that's where the island will be break into two. Is this the kind of stories that are we going to share with the 10th standard, that is 15 years old boys and girls? What kind of education system we had? That is where I felt it is absolutely absurd to have this kind of system. I didn't know how to take it up. I actually searched in the net, but I could not really see how I can reach out to the appropriate or concerned people to raise my concern, saying that this is not what we wanted to share with my kids. So as I said, I'm not sure how I can contribute, but I'll be happy to contribute whatever the way it can be. Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me to this forum.